Good afternoon and welcome to Sportsweek. Eastleigh FC kicked off last Tuesday against Wessex Division 1 High Flyers Andover. A tough test for the Spitfires, and Harry Jones reports.
The Spitfires started on top in Tuesday night's affair, and it didn't take long for them to test Andover Town's back line. Then in the 15th minute, Eastleigh took the lead as youngster Sung Woo Yang made good use of his first team opportunity, scoring his first goal for Jason Bristow's side. And just 5 minutes later, the Spitfires doubled their advantage as former Southampton man Dan Bradshaw got on the end of Sam Smart's cutback to score his second goal in as many games in the cup. Eastleigh weren't quite home and dry yet though, as visitors Andover had a penalty shout turned down, although replays show the ball appeared to strike the chest of goalscorer Bradshaw. The visitors kept pushing though, and striker Ben Emmons fired his side back into the game with this impressive effort. Andover couldn't build on their momentum as Eastleigh dominated in the final 15 minutes, going close to adding a third on multiple occasions. But in the end, their two early strikes were enough to see them advance to the next round of the Hampshire Cup, where they'll play either AFC Portchester, AFC Totton, or the winner of Farnborough versus Portsmouth for a place in the final. Full time at the Silver Lake Stadium, Eastleigh 2, Andover Town 1.
Some areas they did well, some areas they need to improve on, but a fantastic experience. And look, we won the game of football, so we're through to the semi-finals. It's something the lads can be proud about, and it extends our opportunities to hopefully go and impress again.
Winchester City were in action at the weekend, facing a Cinderford town side struggling at the bottom of the table. Our reporter Taylor Sinclair was there.
Winchester City hosted a Cinderford town side who sat 17th before kick-off. However, it was their side with the first chance of the game, with a tame free kick into the arms of the Welsh futsal international Charlie Philpott. The first goal of the game went to Cinderford with an audacious lob which found its way rolling into the back of the Winchester City net, putting them behind in a home game for the first time since their win over AFC Totton on the 7th of January. It was the home side's fans' job to give their team a much-needed lift. The game was filled with scrappy play in the first half, with a midfield battle leaving the referee with no choice but to show a first yellow card of the game for Winchester City's number 4 Max Smith with a late, poor time tackle on the Cinderford player, setting the game up for more drama. In a half with few chances, a looping header by the citizens, easily dealt with by the opponents, was a highlight with very few clear-cut chances being created by either side. Despite the poor first half from both sides, Winchester City's winger Simba Malambo stroked the ball home from Ollie Bailey's low cross into the box, putting him on 13 goals for the season, making him the top scorer of the Winchester so far. A second half, affected by poor conditions, was sparked into life from a Jamie Barron free kick, hitting the ball low and hard from around 20 yards out, putting the citizens in the lead for the first time in the game. The goals didn't stop there, with one of Winchester's own, young Henry Brooks, breaking on the Cinderford defence before firing the ball into the far corner of the net. The drama didn't end, as Cinderford's number 10 was sent off in the 90th minute of the game after a dangerous tackle on Simba Malambo. Full time, Winchester City 3, Cinderford Town 1.
Today was about the result actually. It was a little bit of a game of two halves, as you saw. First half, weather conditions, a bit windy, I think it was tough. Second half, we got more into our game. But given the momentum we've had in recent games and where we are in the league, it was all about the result today actually.
An impressive 3-1 victory for Winchester City this afternoon. With only one loss coming in their last 6 games, they look to face Willand Rovers next weekend. Taylor Sinclair, Winchester News Online.
Fleet Town were desperate for 3 points on Saturday. They sat 18th in the Combined Counties Premier Division table and faced a tricky test in Balham, who had won 4 of their last 5 in the league. I went to watch this one. On a day where 3 points were vital, Fleet remembered Jeff Belcher, a beloved supporter that sadly passed away. Both sides started brightly, with Balham in particular posing a threat through set pieces early on. And then this happened. Bouncing ball on the far touchline, and that is strong from Dinsdale. Wouldn't be surprised if the referee reaches for his pocket here. And I think he's given him a red here, you know. James Dinsdale sent off. He's gone with some force there. As the minutes ticked by, Balham began to grow into the game. Shot from the edge of the box. Decent strike from Hedges, had the keeper worried. Finally, the extra man paid dividends. A scrappy finish, but a goal nevertheless. The last touch of Cameron Gordon. The visitors went into the break with a 1-0 lead. The second half began as the first had ended. This time it was Kojo Kie with a stunning strike to double Balham's lead. Late on, Balham too saw red, as James Beauchamp was pulled to the ground by professional Eric Arias. And the referee blows the full-time whistle. It's finished here, Fleet Town 0, Balham FC 2. Kieran, how did you find that one?
Difficult, very difficult when you get a player sent off in the first 5 minutes. It kind of sets the tone for the game. Played well though, probably wouldn't say that we were a team with 10 men, to be honest.
Was the first goal quite frustrating to you in the manner that it went in?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I feel from the throw-in we didn't really deal with the first ball, and as soon as you let the ball bounce in a box, it ultimately causes you a lot of problems, and I felt that was a contributing factor to the goal. I felt we should have defended that much better, but unfortunately we didn't quite do that.
Basingstoke Town were in action against Ashford Town, the Battle of the Towns, as the Dragons looked to propel themselves up into the promotion places. Harry Jones was our reporter for this one.
The Dragons came into this one off the back of 2 impressive victories on the road at Chipstead and South Park, and they looked like a side with confidence early on, with central midfielders Simon Dunn and Ben Cook both going close to breaking the deadlock. The informed Brad Wilson was the hero in both of Basingstoke's most recent away wins, and the winger had opportunities to make it 3 goals in 3 games, most notably from this free kick effort. The hosts continued to apply pressure to the Ashford back line in the second period, and eventually they got their reward, winning a penalty in the 81st minute. Stefan Brown stepped up, and after having his first effort saved, he followed it in and scored his 7th league goal of the season to give Basingstoke a late lead. And while Basingstoke's efforts to double their advantage were unsuccessful, they'd still done enough to secure a crucial 3 points that would keep them 5th in the Isthmian South Central. Full time at the Winkleberry, Basingstoke Town 1, Ashford United 0.
I think we dealt with their threats when they went a little bit more direct. We started putting pressure on the ball. So there was a lot to like in terms of game management, but again, we just need to be that little bit better, particularly here. We're trying to get to grips of why we're not quite performing to the same level as we are away at the moment, but we'll get there. But the important thing is the result today.
So a slim but vital victory makes it 4 Isthmian League wins in a row for Basingstoke Town. With the high-flying Chertsey up next, before a visit from league leaders Bracknell, the schedule is about to get a whole lot tougher for Dan Brownlee's men. Harry Jones, Winchester News Online.
Now, we've all been watching the extraordinary events in the Winter Olympics, but closer to home, the Basingstoke Bison took on top of the league Telford Tigers at the Basingstoke Arena on Saturday. Ed Brown has more.
The Basingstoke Bison hosted the top of the league Telford Tigers on Saturday night in a defensive brawl. After a bleak first period, the Bison struck first, with player coach Ashley Tates deflecting in the opener. Chance after chance slipped away for the Bison, with brilliant saves from Tigers goaltender Bradley Day, racking up 37 saves throughout the game. The Tigers tried to claw back, but this late hit from Jason Lee Aston saw him in the box for a 2-minute interference call. There were handbags between Hallam Wilson and Tigers defenders for this takedown next to the benches. Bison goaltender Alex Metten had some big saves of his own, rising to the occasion with 26 saves on the night. But this one got through. A slip from Liam Morris gave Scott McKenzie an open invitation to equalise. Game on. More chances accrued for both sides, but the game headed to overtime, deadlocked at 1 goal apiece. Overtime was brief. Liam Morris making up for his earlier blunder, sending the Tigers back up north with a snipe to end the game.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Felt like I saw the puck well. We got a couple of lucky bounces off the posts, and then the guys did the business in OT when we needed it. Brad's a really good goalie, uses his size well. He got in the way and made some really big saves, and that always pushes myself to try and match him save for save and keep us in the game and allow the guys to pick up the 2 points in OT there.
The Bison defeated their rival Bees 6-1 on Sunday in Slough and take on the Leeds Knights this coming Sunday at home. Ed Brown, Winchester News Online.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic plays it. So too does David Beckham. Not football, no, but padel. It's one of the fastest growing sports around. It's a mix of both tennis and squash, and it's just about to get a whole lot bigger after an international league was launched with big prize money. Harry Turberfield checked out our local padel club and why this little known sport has seen a rise in popularity.
It may look like an odd combination of more familiar sports, tennis and squash, but padel is an up-and-coming sport with its own unique rules and regulations, with the courts here at the Winchester Rackets Club fully booked days in advance.
Padel has seen a huge surge in popularity over the last 2 years, with videos on Facebook and Twitter going viral due to the high-intensity nature of the rallies. Sporting icons such as Rafael Nadal and Zlatan Ibrahimovic have promoted the youth development of the sport, which has seen a player base grow from 6,000 to over 200,000 in the UK in the last 2 years.
The idea of the sport came about in Mexico 1969 when businessman Enrique Corcuera wanted a tennis court built in his home, but didn't have enough space. He instead had a court built where he could play both tennis and squash, which eventually evolved into padel.
I think it's going to grow and grow, and also it's the kind of thing that people of all ages can play. So you can come on court as an 80-year-old and have a great time. You can come on the court as a 20-year-old and have a great time, and you can play it up to a professional level. So it's a sport that works for anyone, really.
The ball is served with a bounce and underarm serve and must land in the opponent's service box. The ball can touch all glass sections of the walls after bouncing, but is awarded a foul if a player hits the ball into a cage section of the court. It looked like a really fun concept, so I couldn't resist having a game against Gary, who taught me some harsh realities on the seemingly simple sport.
I tried.
Oh, Christ. I was enjoying myself in my newfound hobby, and after a series of wild swings and my lack of basic padel knowledge revealed in all its glory, I eventually began to get my eye in, and it wasn't long before I managed to pull off a few shots that even Gary seemed to enjoy.
It's very hard work, but it's very enjoyable.
With more people getting involved in padel, it might not be long before it becomes a regular fixture on our tellies. Harry Turberfield, Winchester News Online.
And that's all we've got time for this week. See you next time. Bye-bye.